Hello, everyone. This is the third edition of Oil Kings Nation. Welcome to another edition of that. Hello to my subscribers and anyone out there watching this video. I appreciate it very much. Click the like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. This video won't be too long, I hope. I'm just talking about a few things pre-game since the Oil Kings' next game is against Kamloops Blazers tomorrow, November 11th. It's an earlier start at 3 p.m. puck drop local time, so I just thought I would make this video before, since the game is so early. Before I get into my content today, I just want to give a shout out to number 92, Miroslav Holinka of the Edmonton Oil Kings. Today is his birthday, so I want to say happy birthday on behalf of myself and I'm sure everyone in Oil Kings Nation on, I believe, his 20th birthday. So let's hope that the team can go out tomorrow and get a win for him on a belated birthday, so to speak. Now, I'm only going to talk about a few topics today, but the first one I want to talk about is the news that has come out of Edmonton. The Oil Kings making a trade with the Kelowna Rockets to get a player for a bunch of draft picks. Now, I think this is a good trade for Edmonton. The player is 6 foot tall, 190 pounds. He's a 2008 born player, so we probably will have him for at least a few seasons, depending on when his 21st birthday is. Looking his stats up, he has played 10 games for the Kamloops Blazers. He's got two assists and 2 points, and he plays forward. So it's going to be interesting to see where Jason Smith and the coaching staff fit him into the lineup. I believe this might be a move from Kurt Hill, knowing that some of our players might be on long-term injured reserve. So I believe he might just be trying to fill in some of those gaps to ensure that everyone is fresh and goes in and out of the lineup. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the head-to-head stats between the Oil Kings and the Blazers. They don't play each other often. I believe this is the first meeting of the season. And last year, I believe Edmonton went to Kamloops on their BC road trip. I believe that was probably around the same time last year. I'd have to double check my stats on that and my information on that. But last season, Edmonton beat Kamloops 7-3. This is going to be their 10th meeting. Kamloops has a 5-4 edge currently on the Oil Kings. So it's going to be a close game, I believe. It's going to be one that's going to be hard to predict how it's going to go. But if I'm a betting man, I'm still putting my money on the Oil Kings only because they are red hot right now. They've won 5 straight games. They're a tough team to beat. I'll say that. They're a team that you have to be almost perfect and have a perfect game, limited mistakes to beat this team, because Edmonton will hurt you. They've got size, they've got speed. If you make a mistake, they're going to hurt you. They can score. Definitely they can score. They're among the top teams in the Western Hockey League right now in terms of offense. So again, I believe if I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on the Edmonton Oil Kings to defeat the Kamloops Blazers tomorrow to start the first of 6 in BC on this 8-game road trip. It would be a nice way to kick off the BC portion of the trip and to go 2-0 on this 8-gamer. When I look at the special teams, it's kind of interesting because Edmonton is at 90% on the penalty kill. Kamloops is 80%. Edmonton has a slightly lower power play percentage than the Blazers. I think the Blazers are up around the 30% mark. Edmonton's around the 23.5% mark. So in terms of special teams, it's very, very close. But Edmonton, what I've noticed, Edmonton on the penalty kill, they've been consistent all season. They might only give up one goal against every second or third game on the penalty kill. They haven't gone, at least from what I've watched, at least at home ice, they haven't really given up a lot on the penalty kill. 90% is exceptional. So the coaching staff has done a good job in terms of the penalty kill portion. Now, I know it's a little early to maybe talk about this, but later on in the season and in the playoffs, it's going to be very important for the Oil Kings to get their power play up. I believe if you want to have success in the playoffs, you should probably hit between the 25 to 30% mark on the power play. Penalty kill is not an issue for me. It's 90%. I think it's going to hover around maybe 80 to 85, 90% all season. So I think in terms of that regard, the team should be okay. Next topic I want to go into here is, what do the Oil Kings need to do to beat the Kamloops Blazers tomorrow afternoon? Well, as you may know, they're on a 5-game winning streak. They most recently came off a 4-3 thriller in a shootout over the Medicine Hat Tigers on Saturday. Paul Anderson had the shootout winner. Congrats to Paul Anderson, first career WHL shootout, and he scores. The first and foremost that I think the Oil Kings need to do to win the game is they need to stay out of the penalty box. This team takes a decent amount of penalties per game. Lately, it's been going down a little bit. They haven't taken as much as they did at the start of the season, but still, I think with the power play that the Blazers have, hovering right around the 30% mark, I think it's critical that Edmonton limits their penalties and tries to stay out of the penalty box in the game. I know their penalty killing is good, but when you're going up against a 30% power play, something's got to give. So if I'm a coach on the team, I'm not, but if I was coaching the team, I'd tell our team to play physical, have that edge, don't go over that line where we could get into penalty trouble and make it a parade to the penalty box. Alright, sorry about that, everyone. I just had a little bit of a event that came up. So that's the first thing I would say. Stay out of the penalty box and we should be fine. Next thing is, I think the Oil Kings need to score the first goal. If we score the first goal, we're not going to be chasing the game. We'll be able to get into our comfort zone, play the system, and allow Kamloops to come after us and allow them to kind of maybe open up some space on the ice to get the game tied. Now, as I mentioned before in this video, this is the first game of their 6-game BC swing, so I think it's going to be important for us to get off to a good start with a win. That way, the boys have the confidence they need for the other 5 games on this BC trip. It's not going to get any easier for the team, obviously. As this season moves, this is the key. I think this road trip is the key portion of their schedule where potentially it could decide, if they're going to be in the playoffs or not. I know they're still off to a fantastic start, 14-4, 1-1, I believe, coming in to the game tomorrow. So record-wise, they're fine, but I still think that this 8-game overall road trip, if they go 4-4 or better, then I think that we'll be okay going into the second half of the season. And I do believe we will be a playoff team pending the outcome of this road trip. Right now we're 1-0 on this 8-gamer, so as I mentioned before, if we go 4-4 or better, I believe we'll be in a good spot to pick up some more crucial wins down the stretch here, and make the playoffs. Now, to touch on that, I think it's going to be interesting to see how good we are in the second half of the season, if we're going to win our division or if we're going to finish, maybe second, third place, because Calgary and Medicine Hat are still hot on our heels, even though Medicine Hat is struggling a little bit. Calgary is red hot right now. Edmonton's hot. So it's going to be interesting to see how those three teams line up in the back half of the season. So it's important for us to have the consistency to continue to stay hot, even if we do lose. It's important that we don't lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row, because that would allow those teams, if they get hot, to catch up, and then obviously we would be out of first place. But if I'm looking at the whole season right now, I think Edmonton has done enough right now to win the Central Division. The Eastern Conference should be a secondary goal, but winning the Central Division would be nice, because that means we would have home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs anyway. And then obviously if we win the East, we have home ice advantage throughout the entire playoffs, depending on how far we go. I touched on this a little bit in this segment. I think Edmonton needs to play physical. I'm looking at their roster. We have some big kids on our team. We have guys like Ethan McKenzie who can hit. We have guys like Reese Peterson, who I'm not sure if he's going to be in the lineup on this part of the road trip, but he's a big kid too. He's not afraid to hit. You got guys like Landon Hansen, Dylan Dean, to name a few, that are also physical. So it's going to be important for those guys and the younger kids to step up and be physical. I think the Oil Kings play better when they're physical, because we also have another aspect of our game when we're not so physical. We have guys that can move the puck from the back end, that are terrific skaters. We can make the plays, we can score. So I think the physical part of the game needs to be there tomorrow if we're going to have success against the Blazers, for sure. The final thing I want to mention is I think the Oil Kings are going to be okay in this BC part of their road trip. There's six of these 8 games are in BC, so I believe if we go 3-3, 4-2, it'll be a successful road trip on this portion of the swing. And I have confidence in the team. They'll do that. Last year they were pretty good on this part of on the trip. The fans are gonna root for them. We're gonna miss them when they come back on November 30th. I hope it's gonna be a packed house to welcome them home. The players will be on the road for about 3.5 weeks or so from the last home game to the next one. So I hope that, from a fan perspective, when they are back on the 30th against the Saskatoon Blades, we fill the house, cheer for them loud, and hopefully help them deliver a victory at home for the first time in 3.5 weeks. That's all I have for now. I will be posting a post-game video after tomorrow's game, either tomorrow evening or Wednesday at some point. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.